We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First. I think you know that. And my first thing every day is giving praises to God, giving thanks and asking for blessings from God Almighty, from the ancestors, from the elders, or the righteous elders, as Jim Brown used to call them, and getting it going, stirring the pot. You know, typically on this show on Fridays, the first hour we look local. Hour two, we do Freedmen Friday, a comprehensive reparations conversation meant to continue to move this issue forward. And hour three, we do whatever we do. I mean, it varies. Friday's a whole different conversation. And it's taken on some urgency today, which is why we're here. We had planned, and we will still talk about the findings of the Los Angeles Reparations Commission in hour two for Freedmen Friday with Dr. Selassie. But joining me right now in studio on some 911 stuff, I don't know which hat I'm supposed to be.
Oh, this is the Friday Jones hat. This is the revolutionary hat.
Okay, Friday Jones is in the studio. You may know her as Khansa Muhammad, a.k.a. Friday Jones. And I don't want to say the wrong thing because I know you have a certain portfolio that you cover as a commissioner and another one as a reparationist. Whatever it is, you're here this morning on a mission. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I am here talking California reparations, and we have some things kind of happening behind the scenes that really do require a call to action.
Yeah, so we've been talking, of course, about these bills that were meant to be voted on the assembly floor about reparations. And I was expecting to hear about that vote yesterday. I was searching on my all my sources all morning, hoping to have a joyous announcement some kind of way, since I thought the vote was meant to take place on Wednesday. Here it is, Friday.
It's Friday, going into a holiday weekend. It feels very familiar to me.
What do you mean by that?
Well, in New York, there were two reparations bills in New York, right? We had one, God bless, I don't knock the people that have kept reparations in the forefront for the past 30 years. But there was one bill, the one that Governor Hochul signed, sponsored by Szilagyi, New York Assemblywoman Szilagyi. There was a companion bill with, oh my God, I forget his name, but a senator companion bill. And then there was the bill written by the grassroots advocates. And there had to be two because Szilagyi wouldn't talk to the grassroots advocates. And so the bill, just like we're going into the weekend here right now, the bill for that was written by the advocates, and I think it's 0878, I think that's what it is, sponsored by Nikki Lucas. That bill basically went to the 13th hour. It went to the 13th hour so that it could go nowhere.
Kind of like what they do with news stories when they drop them on Friday. We're being joined right now in studio also by the chair of the California Reparations Task Force, Attorney Kamilah Moore. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Now you know it's serious business because we hadn't planned on any of this, but I must say I'm super happy to see you both, and I'm thrilled that KBLA can serve the purpose that we were put in place to serve. So what is actually going on? I mean, I was told Wednesday we have the votes. We think this is going through, and the next phase, which would start next month, would be lobbying the governor to sign the bills. What you say?
I can be the bad cop.
Okay,
that
you'd
way
be
you
the
can
bad
stay
cop.
the
and
good cop.
And Attorney Moore can help us understand the legalities and what it all means.
So all the things that I say are hearsay. Nothing has been confirmed or can be denied, and I'm speaking as an individual freely. So word on these here reparations streets is that our governor, Gavin Newsom, does not want to sign the bill that would establish a state agency of Freedmen's Bureau. Tina McKenna, who is the California Legislative Black, Legislative Black
California Legislative
Caucus.
Black Caucus, yeah.
So Tina McKenna is the chair of that.
Lori Wilson is.
Oh, Corey is
Lori Wilson, yeah.
Lori
some
Wilson.
remember
Okay,
Lori
my bad.
Wilson.
I'm mixing up their duties, but Tina McKenna is certainly a member of the CLBC. She basically said that the grassroots organizers couldn't get 200 people to Sacramento in order to push and lobby. But you know what? We're black people. We're black people with 10 jobs. We're black people with 2% of the national wealth. We're 6% of California's population, but we are also the 5th largest population in the United States. And for the governor, for the CLBC to be afraid to put forward the bills to play politics with Senator Bradford because it wasn't somehow a unified front, that conversation literally has been going on for months. And at this time, we as a people can't play politics, and we can't allow the Democratic Party to play with us. All of these black people in the CLP, for the most part, are Democrats. And the current presidential nominee, our current vice president, our former Senator Kamala Harris, signed Senator Cory Booker's companion bill to H.R. 40.
Right.
So if you want to tell me that the person running for the presidency of the United States, that is the queen of your party, can be for reparations, her signature is there as a co-sponsor, you don't get Governor Gavin Newsom to be afraid to sign the bill or upset with having to sign this bill.
So what you're telling us is, like you said, the word on the reparation streets, what we're hearing from Sacramento, which is important, right? Because these things end up, whether the specifics are exactly right or not, what we know right now is that there was no vote on the full floor on these reparations bills.
The two most important bills, which was the establishing of the Freedmen's Bureau and then the funding source.
Right, which we've talked about repeatedly.
They just want to give us the apology from Reggie Jones Sawyer, and that apology without the rest of this is mute. So I'm going to stop there.
So the apology passed.
Yes.
The apology passed.
The apology passed. And yet we have nothing on the Freedmen's Bureau or that funding mechanism, which are key components to put in place in order for any kind of program, including a cash reparations program, to move forward. Would you, as far as the analysis of the importance of those bills, could you break that down a little bit, Attorney Moore?
Yeah, absolutely. As someone who studied reparations, particularly in a context under international law, right, I've studied reparations models domestically and internationally, and what unites reparations models domestically and internationally is that before any benefits or payments or are meted out, there has to be infrastructure put in place to field eligibility and essentially first to field eligibility, but also to put in the necessary infrastructure to dispense whatever comes out of a reparations program. Like Japanese Americans, they had the Office of Redress Administration. Native Americans, of federally recognized tribes, they have the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The United States owed reparations to Guam. An entire office was set up to field eligibility for the victims of wartime crimes in that sense. And so, the idea that, there needs to be a similar office or similar infrastructure set up in place for descendants of slaves when we're fighting for reparations, whether it be on the local, state, and federal level. And so Senate Bill 1403, which would create the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, right, that would be the building that would provide that necessary infrastructure to field eligibility. And then also, obviously, to dispense the policies that come at a later date, like education grants, business grants, housing grants. Kind of without that central hub, it doesn't appear that it's going to mirror successful models of reparations domestically and internationally, and that's a huge problem.
Okay, so there's what we know for sure is that the two Bradford bills were not even taken to the floor.
They weren't taken to the floor, and I think they're afraid to take it to the floor. I think politicians are concerned about their careers and longevity and what's going to happen to them, and the people deserve better than that.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. For me, I think that politicians are going to have to find a way to navigate this issue if they want to keep the black vote. I know that this might not be a general market issue that's super popular. I've talked to some lawmakers behind the scenes, and they've admitted that to me. I get it. But to all the folks that like to come to churches and ask for votes, or like to hang out with us during election season, I feel like we're getting to the point where, at least in California, whether or not you're willing to take a stand on reparations, regardless of your ethnicity, is going to end up being a litmus test for whether black folks are willing to vote for you or not.
And at this point, we're willing to vote our black people out. So the CLBC is not safe. They need to put the bill to the floor. If the governor sincerely, behind the scenes, wants to say he's not going to sign it, test him. Let him be willing to put his career on the line instead of you all lining up to protect him. Test it. Put the bill out there. And if he vetoes it, he can kiss. We will mobilize across this country if he decides he wants to run for president. He will not be able to run for anything that requires the black vote, any position in these here United States. And I sincerely mean that.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we know he's not going to run for president at least until 2028. That's if, Harris doesn't win. He could run in 2028 or 2032 if she does win. So I know this is part of the calculus. Will this be a ball and chain on me when I run? So we know it could either be disunity among the California Legislative Black Caucus, meaning, they're upset because Senator Bradford is a bit of a maverick and he went out on his own and did these bills outside the
and
scope
has
of
the votes
and has the votes outside the scope of the 14 that they presented, which a lot of us were complaining about. Let me speak for myself, which I was complaining about because it didn't address cash. Not that that's the only thing, but at least move that concept forward, which I think these two bills do. It could be that. It also could be, as you said, protecting the governor because they were aware that this may be challenging for the governor to sign. If it is the latter, I'm calling on the Legislative Black Caucus to go ahead and vote on this. Make the governor make it plain where he stands. If it's inner disunity, that's just dumb. We need to stop it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reparations, what's so funny about this is the reparations space has been fairly divided. And I legit have been working on unifying people.
Same.
Last night, when I tell you calls were made for folks that supposedly we understand the mission. We don't have to like each other to do this work. But when it comes to critical mass and critical times like this, we know to get everybody on board. I'm calling out LawPi. Kamilah and I are graduates of the Los Angeles African American Women's Political Policy Institute, which is a queen maker here. We know former senator, state senator, now California Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager came through that system. We know, if I'm correct, I believe Holly Mitchell came through that system. We know Jasmine Canick came through that system. These are all powerful, politically powerful women. And the grassroots LawPi sisters are calling you all to make some phones ring today at the governor's office and at the CLBC. We have a call to action. And Kamilah, you want to tell them what we got brewing here?
Yeah. Okay. I think we should do that when we come forward, right, Miles? We have a call to action, and I think you are welcome to call in as well. That's coming up on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Hey, I got a question for you. You hate bending over to put on your shoes? Wish you could just put them on standing or sitting without ever having to touch them? If so, then I have the shoe for you. Introducing new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins. With new Skechers Slip-ins, you just step in and off you go. You don't even need to lace up. So how do Skechers Slip-ins work? Well, there's a special smooth comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide right into place. So just step in them and go. Find new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins for the whole family at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've got a pecto predicament, Beach Bum.
Hey, we're heading down to the beach. You coming?
Yeah, Dad. You coming?
I had a little too much to eat at the resort buffet. I need a minute.
Oh, you overdid it. And now your beach vacation is giving you belly waves. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can get back to making memories.
Let's go, Dad!
When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station,
and your favorite morning show host.
Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're talking reparations. Freedmen Friday started early, and that's a good thing because we are at a critical moment. We've been talking about this. Senator Bradford was on Freedmen Friday asking us to reach out to our assembly members because these bills passed out of the Senate, California State Senate, now in the Assembly. We were expecting a full vote on these bills on Wednesday. We got the apology and not the other two bills by Bradford. Don't know if it's, politicking between colleagues in the in the state legislature or if it's them protecting the governor who does not want to sign it. I did report earlier, I was hearing the governor was asking for amendments, not sure specifically what those were. But
you want me to tell you what the streets is talking again?
Yeah, of course.
According to the streets, again, this information cannot be verified or denied. But according to the streets, the governor wants another 2-year study. The governor wants to stick this in, I think, the Cal State system for another 2 years. He wants to focus on eligibility. He wants to basically stall and nullify all the work that was already done. We have had that happen to us as a people in Tulsa. Tulsa did a study in I think 1997, in the 1990s. They came up with a whole bunch of recommendations. Nothing happened. These people, our elders, died off in front of our eyes, made it all the way to Congress, and we down to like one. And now there's talk about doing another Tulsa. We are literally doing that in California in real time, and Senator Bradford does not deserve it. He has been a champion, and he should be lifted up instead of opposed and the game of politics being played.
So, Attorney Kamilah Moore, you were about to give us a call to action from reparationists in the state of California, but really nationwide, you can weigh in, because I think the nation is watching, and I feel like if we fold as California right now, it's going to send the wrong message.
It'll be a setback to the whole movement. Yeah. It's going to totally destroy the movement. That is what we're talking about.
I feel like we can't be destroyed, but I understand what you're saying. It could certainly set us back another 100 years, which we don't have time for.
Right. So absolutely. So first and foremost, if there's any listeners that may have any family or friends up in Sacramento, it would be really important in terms of our call to action if you could actually go in person to the California State Assembly floor. They start their session at 10 a.m. and their session may run until the evening, until 7 or even later. But the idea is we want to show the CLBC and the other legislators that we have a critical mass of folks who are not, going to stand down. And so, yes, if you can actually be in Sacramento today or even tomorrow, if they don't pass these bills today, the absolute deadline is tomorrow. So if you can attend the Assembly floor session, preferably today or even tomorrow, again, if they don't pass the bills today, please go in person. If not, you can email the CLBC, preferably the chair of the CLBC, Lori Wilson. You can email her chief of staff at taylor.wolfwork@asm.ca.gov, or you can call her Sacramento and district offices at 916-319-2011. That's 916-319-2011. And the district office is 707-438-7359, 707-438-7359. And then obviously we want people to call the governor, and you can call his office at 916-445-2841. That is 916-445-2841. And his chief of staff, her email is Dana, D-A-N-A, .Williamson, WILLIAMSON, at gov.ca.gov. And the call to action is to demand the CLBC and obviously Governor Newsom to pass and then sign SB 1403 and SB 1331 into law. Again, just to conclude, these particular bills would set up a state agency, a reparations agency and fund specifically for descendants of American slaves. Two types of initiatives that we haven't seen in this country since Reconstruction, since over 100 years ago. And it's still very much needed via the, comprehensive study that the task force, published. And so this is really important. So that's the call to action, is to demand SB 1403 and SB 1331 to be passed and then signed into law.
So if they're successful in stalling, whatever the reasons are, if this is not voted on the assembly floor by Saturday, what happens?
the bill dies.
It dies. And we got to do this all over again in another legislative calendar. And
without Senator Bradford, because he's termed out. He's currently
out,
running for lieutenant governor.
which is a problem. And for me, and this is just my opinion, these are my words, we have been very thoughtful in how the City of LA's Reparations Advisory Commission gives space to the state. We did not want to be like San Francisco. We did not jump out ahead of the state actions and make big headlines and try to move fast so that we could be first. We've been very intentional. We go into the governor's legislative calendar for next year, for the fiscal year, and LA has a fiscal year, July to June 30th. That's how it runs. So the first half of 2025, we'll be going into the local, budgeting process with our Mayor Karen Bass. And again, what message do you think this is sending to other local municipal commissions in the state when we're looking to you for leadership?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Look, we've got folks in the chat asking, they're saying, is Freedmen Friday happening early? Well, this Freedmen Friday is all day.
This work don't never stop.
And your call to action starts now. They're asking us to put the numbers in the YouTube chat. We will do that during News, Traffic, and Sports, or right now, even better. And this is, it's time to roll. I mean, we got to roll. This is actually where the rubber meets the road. The deadline is today. I mean, showdown at the whatever. And it's time for that right now.
My sister-in-law just canceled our brunch, so I could get a rent-a-car and be in Sacramento tomorrow. And I'm not kidding. If you want to ride, let's go. This is that important. That we actually rearrange our time and our days. We have the benefit of the Saturday. If we had gotten this news a little bit earlier, we could have mobilized for today.
Yeah.
But we need to show up as best and as much as we can so that they see more than the same old faces, because the assumption is that we're not representatives because we weren't elected.
Right. Well, we're going to continue this conversation after News, Traffic, and Sports. Of course, it's going to be part of our regular Freedmen Friday conversation. We got to make this happen. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Good morning. It's August 30th. I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Florida stepmother is facing murder charges after allowing a 100-pound Rottweiler to attack and kill a 9-year-old child. A new Labor Day survey reveals 74% of people think inflation is erasing their hard work. According to Wallet Hub, 2 in 3 Americans say that inflation is affecting their Labor Day plans. ESPN is launching a new feature on its app showing fans where they can tune in to watch games. The company said Where to Watch is an effort to meet the needs of the fans, with new features to improve the discovery of live sports. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are the first Major League team to reach 80 wins. They beat Baltimore last night to build some momentum for their crucial 4-game series at Arizona. Game 1 is tonight in Phoenix. The Dodgers lead Arizona by 4 games in the NL West. The Angels snapped their 7-game losing streak with a shutout win at Detroit. It was the Angels' 6th shutout of the season and their first since July 6th in Chicago against the Cubs. The Angels are back home tonight to start a 3-game series against Seattle. 4 HBCU football teams played Division I opponents last night, and the results were not pretty. Howard, Jackson State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and North Carolina A&T lost by an average margin of 38.7 points. Arkansas Pine Bluff lost by 70 to Arkansas. Jackson State was the only team of the 4 to give their opponent a game. They lost to Louisiana Monroe by 16. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Support comes from Getty, presenting Memnon, a world premiere theatrical event under the stars. Memnon tells the tale of a powerful Ethiopian king who fights alongside Troy during the city's darkest hour. This epic Greek myth has been overlooked for over a millennium. Until now. Memnon is co-produced by the Classical Theater of Harlem, Thursdays through Saturdays this September at the Getty Villa Museum. Tickets are available now at getty.edu.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah. This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace! You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Miss Friday Jones in the studio, stopping by on a Friday. Attorney Kamilah Moore joined us. Was off to her morning assignment. But this is, as she said, crucial. Today is the deadline. Well, tomorrow, I guess, technically is the deadline. But will they automatically convene on Saturday?
Oh, yeah, they will.
They will, okay. Mm-hmm. So if folks can't get to Sacramento today and there's no action on this, it would definitely be worth rolling to Sacramento tomorrow. Certainly, any of the members of the California Legislative Black Caucus are always invited to call in 800-920-1580. You've heard some of them recorded from interviews I did at the DNC. You'll hear more before the week is out, before the next 2 weeks are out, because I want to really share these different conversations that I had with you. But right now, the call to action is to reach out to the governor's office, reach out to the leader of the California Legislative Black Caucus,
Lori D. Wilson. Yep.
Lori D. Wilson. And let them know that we really, really we don't have to address the reasons why they're not doing it, but we expected them to get this bill voted on Wednesday. It's Friday. Tomorrow's the deadline. What y'all doing? We need this done. We need this on the governor's desk.
We need it on the desk. And they received 40,000 letters. Like, you're talking about not mobilizing in person, but you all received 40,000 letters in support of these bills. And for you to ignore that, your constituents in the whole state of California, that is mind-boggling to me. And there's more word on the street. I have two remaining points because I have an appointment myself at 7. But one, these bills haven't even passed. And there's already talk behind the scenes on how the $12 million is going to be reallocated and go to the California Freedmen Fund, which is a black-run fund. That fund has come
Freedom,
up.
not
Freedom
Freedmen, right.
Freedom Fund.
Right.
And it has come up in conversation as a recommendation to help with like the city work. But I am for departments being formed. I am for funds being formed that meet city audit standards, which are some of the highest standards. State audit standards are the highest standards, not just putting money into a fund and repurposing our reparations. That's not
okay. And the $12 million, of course, you're referring to is a $12 million
Correct.
The state legislature set aside this year in a budget crunch year to address reparations, which it was a victory in itself, but then what happens to that is also relevant. I do think, and to your point, the Freedom Fund does great work, but once again, the question becomes, is it moving reparations forward in the most effective way we can at this moment? Whatever that looks like, whatever happens with the funding, whatever happens next, my opinion, we need these wins.
We absolutely need these wins. And off air, Dominique and I were talking about the hits that descendant-led organizations are taking in this funders world. And to me, what is happening in terms of if these bills don't pass, which need to pass, and the funds being reallocated, to me, it feels like what is happening to our organizations, which are extremely underfunded compared to some other organizations, so that there can be this construction of who is going to win in this reparations place and who is not. The state hasn't been sued yet. If the state was doing a poor job, as these bills have been advancing, as AB 3121 did its whole thing, there would have been a lawsuit. We have been very strategic, and I feel like this is the undermining of all of that work as advocates that we have done to be at the whim of, our governor, and that's not okay. And we have Kamala Harris, she signed when she was a senator, Cory Booker's companion bill to H.R. 40. She did that as a senator. She was a co-sponsor. And so at this point, we're calling on Kamala Harris. This is a public call. I don't know who's in her camp, but I know some people here that are doing a lot of fundraising for her. We need a call going out to her for her to call Gavin Newsom, because California State was front line, prime time during this DNC convention. And this is not the time for this party to basically play again with the 5th largest black state population in the United States.
Yeah, I'm not against that call, but I feel like we, as the constituents and voters of the state of California, we're the ones that should be checking our governor. And also, to me, the fact that the California Black Legislative Caucus is not the one, according to these reports, is not the one putting pressure on the governor, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if it's not going to come from the people we elect to represent us, then what are we doing?
Well, they're giving him cover, but I've said this and I will say it again, because the dog I have in the fight is for generations to come. But in terms of people's political careers, sometimes we all have to take a L for the cause. And at this point, this particular California Legislative Black Caucus, they need to stand up. They need to not be afraid. They need to not say, oh, well, those are his bills. Senator Bradford's bills are over there, and our package are these 14 reparations bills, because only 2 of them remotely say anything about the descendants of slavery or the beneficiary class. They look, for the most part, like rehashed bills that were sitting to the side, that were waiting, and now we can dress it up as reparations. And you don't get to dress up your bills as reparations while poo-pooing on the actual reparations legislation. Senator Bradford, at this point in his legislative bills, need to be uplifted, and in each of you, and I've seen requests for some of you all to have funding. You need funding for your campaigns. No, Senator Bradford deserves for his campaign for lieutenant governor to be funded. Period.
Right. I mean, I don't, I, as you said, the goal is unity. The goal is moving the reparations stuff forward. So I pray that in work, behind the scenes, I hope that all of these reparations organizations can work together. I know, like you said, there's some disunity in the space. I feel like there's ops that come in and discredit the work of both. But right now, we're at a point where I feel like you said earlier, we could, it's important. We have to set aside our quarrels, whether they're between legislators or between community-based organizations, and get these wins.
Well, I'm calling on all the commissioners, Don Tamaki, Dr. Cheryl Grills, Jovan Scott Lewis, Attorney Lisa Holder.
You're talking about the state.
I'm calling on
task
Amos
force.
Brown. We need you all to be calling Gavin Newsom and telling him to go ahead and pass these bills. This stall tactic in a modern context is not okay. And the constituents of California do not deserve the same treatment that the Tulsa survivors received by their government. This is government failing in real time, and we've got 48 hours to correct it.
I know you have to go in just a couple minutes, so I'm just handing you the mic and letting you say what you came here to say, Friday Jones, a.k.a. Khansa Muhammad.
In closing, reparations call to action. We need folks to be reaching out to Gavin Newsom at 916-445-2841, to Chair Lori Wilson at 916-319-2011, or 707-438-7359. Let their phones ring off. Email if you can. And if you can, tomorrow, please carpool. If you need information on that, you can send me an email at info@naasd.org, because I'm redirecting my weekend. It's that important for us to be present tomorrow at the state capitol in Sacramento. And
what will that look like once you get there?
It looks like being there, being present, being bodies. I wish I could say we had signs. I don't want to overpromise, but they need to really see people showing up and showing out, particularly on a Saturday, which is not a work day, because during the week, that's your job. We're at our job. So the expectation is a bit much for us to mobilize when you're not working with us and when you're working against us. There's inside-outside strategy, and I would have preferred that Tina McKenna or a Lola Smallwood would have reached out and said, hey, can you do this? Because then we could have mobilized. And we could have mobilized in a more effective way. So I'm going to be talking to some folks behind the scenes because calls were made last night. We need to get this mobilization happening in Sacramento tomorrow.
Yeah, my phone was blowing up all night, and I'm glad. I'm glad about it. That's why we're here. Please keep me posted as any developments as they arise. And as soon as I get off the air, I got some emails to write.
And thank you, Dominique and Miles. They in here letting folks in the studio in the morning. I appreciate you all for being the voice of Los Angeles. And I just saw you, up at Cal State Northridge, and to be able to be here to continue to do this work as actual advocates in your capacity, as a journalist and as media, and me and mine as, grassroots thought leaders, the term I like to use. I appreciate you making space for us so much this morning.
Always, and that's what we're here for. I mean, that is literally why we need this outlet. Thank you so much, Khansa Jones Muhammad, who is appearing as in an individual reparationist, not in any other role today, a.k.a. Friday Jones. Continuing the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh, man. Looks like Bobby needs a ride to the airport again.
Grab the keys. Who's taking Auntie and her friends to the swap meet?
Grab the keys.
How about we, drop these boxes off at Miss Johnson?
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, you're all about getting things done. So do it all in a Chevy SUV. From the versatile Equinox and sporty Blazer to the roomy Traverse, our lineup of SUVs will carry you through every adventure. All you have to do is...
grab the keys.
That's how we do. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yes, indeed. Freedmen Friday started early today. We are still looking forward to unpacking the findings of the Los Angeles task force, the Los Angeles Commission, and that we'll do next hour. Very excited about that, but we'll also be hearing more about calls to action because they are coming from multiple groups, and we are at an inflection point. I know you hear that over and over again, but right now that's actually where we are in the state of California, and California has been a leader on this, and I'm real proud of that. I know you probably are too. We've been a leader on reparations. We've been a leader on moving this legislation out of simply a study into recommendations, into various bills that are meant to move the needle, move this beyond a discussion into actual, actions. 14 bills put forth by the California Legislative Black Caucus, and then the additional legislation put forth by Senator Stephen Bradford, who is a member of the California Legislative Black Caucus, but he's also termed out of office. So, once he completes this term, he will no longer be in the Senate. What I learned this morning, I didn't realize, if these don't pass by Saturday, then they are effectively dead. And so for whatever the reason, the bills need to be brought to the floor, voted on. We're told they have the votes there. And then sent to the governor's desk. Let the governor decide transparently and in the eyes, before the eyes of the people, whether or not he's going to sign the bill. He signed then Assembly Member Shirley Weber, she's now Secretary of State, of course, he signed her bill into law. None of this would be possible without Governor Gavin Newsom. The 2-year task force study that led to these recommendations, which led to these bills, was signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay, that was then and this is now. Everybody has their political aspirations and pitfalls. I have been told in no uncertain terms by a number of state lawmakers that they are getting tons of letters opposing reparations, that they are getting lobbied, they are getting called, and they are getting letters from people who do not want this reparations work to move forward. And the establishing of a bureau, a Freedmen's Bureau, even regardless of what happens after that, is an important victory symbolically. And it's an important victory functionally in the functioning of, and I know some people have said, oh, well, other agencies can handle, dispersing funds, and other agencies, we can create mechanisms through other means. We could. We haven't done it in the past. And for me, if you draw a straight line from the Reconstruction to now, it is important to create a thing, to create a Freedmen's Bureau, because it marks clear, tangible progress coming out of the California Task Force study. It marks clear, tangible progress coming out of our votes, our desires, what we testified to, voted on, showed up for, protested for. That is what this is an indication of. And it sends a message to the rest of the country. California's not backing down. California has been a leader, an unlikely leader, but a leader nonetheless. Thanks to Dr. Shirley Weber, thanks to all of the long-term activists who have been in this space, and thanks to the newbies who have been in this space, or the young people. Thanks to the Pan-Africanists, thanks to the lineage folks. And this, to me, this is a time for us to stand together. Because even if you don't agree with one another's organization, or even if you think, oh, well, Steve Bradford's too much of a maverick and we need to do this all together. What we don't need is to be stalled out. I think the California Task Force did an amazing job. We don't need 2 more years of study. And then what? Wait till we get a more conservative governor? Wait till Rick Caruso's governor of California and we never get anything, can ever get anything signed on the governor's desk? I mean, I suppose it's possible. We could have, and, gives a new urgency, right? Depending on what happens, to who we choose as our next governor. It's a crowded field. Would you sign these 2 bills? Would you pressure the CLBC to not put them to the vote? You got to vote on it. You can't get all the way to the finish line and then punk out. That would be betraying your constituents. That would be a betrayal of your constituents. You got to vote on the thing. If you don't think it's ready, or you think we need 2 more years, or you want to get the governors back, then vote no. Right? Vote against it. And let it fail. But let it fail on the merits. At least give it an up or down vote. Actually give them an up or down vote. We deserve that. We as your constituents, we as Black Californians, we as reparationists and community organizers, we deserve that. We deserve the opportunity to see who gonna do what, and to have a chance for it to pass. Now, if these bills pass and then the governor doesn't sign them, Would it be a setback? Yes, but it's the kind of setback we can deal with because the black folks in the legislature united and on behalf of the people passed these bills, and then the governor refused to sign them. That's a very different story. And trust me, members of the Legislative Black Caucus, California Congressional Black Caucus, I got to get the name of the organization right. You will get credit. If you bring this to the floor and pass it, people are going to say, yeah, those are Bradford's bills, but we will be applauding you for having the unity, the backbone, and the wisdom to go ahead and pass these bills in the middle of a presidential candidate election, in the middle of a budget crisis, in the middle of a backlash against us. It's, you can't just sign stuff like that when it's convenient. You can't just vote on it when it's convenient. You got to be brave. Be brave like Malcolm. Be brave like Martin. Be brave like Sojourner. Be brave like Fannie Lou Hamer. This is not a time to be blacking down. As KBLA says, we don't black down. Well, please don't black down on our behalf. Vote on the thing. If you don't think it's ready, vote no. Will history judge you? Yeah. But history's going to judge you if you punk out. If you get all the way to the finish line and don't vote. Don't transparently weigh in on where you stand. History's going to judge you for that, nonetheless. Why don't you... Sometimes you got to pop out and show, it's time to show the nation that we are serious about reparations. We didn't come to play. I mean, it's time for the West Coast to show up and show out for reparations. And we are at a crossroads. We have today and tomorrow to get these bills passed. And then we'll have the month of September to try to convince the governor to sign them. And we certainly have lots of voices that can be very compelling and charismatic and, convincing. But we've got to get them to the governor's desk. Otherwise, there's no point. Freedmen Friday is next. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning. It's August 30th. I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Florida stepmother is facing murder charges after allowing a 100-pound Rottweiler to attack and kill a 9-year-old child. A new Labor Day survey reveals 74% of people think inflation is erasing their hard work. According to Wallet Hub, 2 in 3 Americans say that inflation is affecting their Labor Day plans. ESPN is launching a new feature on its app showing fans where they can tune in to watch games. The company said Where to Watch is an effort to meet the needs of the fans with new features to improve the discussion.